Hello students, today we are going to cover two more examples on algorithm and flowchart. Those are to check whether a given number is even or odd and to check whether a given number is positive, negative or zero. So let us start with the algorithm and flowchart to check whether a given number is even or odd. So as you all know, even numbers are those numbers which are divisible by 2. For example, 2, 4, 6, 8, these are called as even numbers. And the numbers which are not divisible by 2, those are called as odd numbers. For example, 1, 3, 5, 7 and so on. So let us look at the algorithm to check whether the given number is even or odd. Step 1, start. Read n. So here we require one number. Once the number is read, we check the remainder. So here the expression we have is remainder is equal to n mod 2. This percentage sign is called as mod in C programming. So here the expression we have given is remainder is equal to n mod 2. It is going to calculate the remainder when n is divided by 2. If the remainder is 0, that means n is divisible by 2. So it has to print n is even. So we are checking the condition here. If remainder is equal to 0, then print n is even. If the remainder is not 0, that means n is not divisible by 2. So here we need to print n is odd. And last step is stop. Let us look at the flowchart now. Start, then read n in parallelogram. Suppose n value given by the user is 12. Then the remainder we will get is 0. That is, when we divide 12 by 2, 12 is divisible by 2, evenly divisible by 2, that is 2 6 are 12, and we get the remainder 0. After calculating remainder, it comes here and checks what is the remainder it has got. If it is 0, now it is 0. In the example, n is equal to 12. So the condition becomes true and it prints n is even. In the other case, that is, suppose n is equal to 9. This time the value of remainder will be 1. That is, 2 4s are 8. 9 minus 8 will be 1. So remainder is 1. When it checks the condition remainder is equal to 0, this condition becomes false as the remainder we have got is 1. So in this case it has to print n is odd. This is how the flowchart works. Now let us look at the algorithm and flowchart to check whether given number is positive, negative or 0. So when we enter a number, it can be either positive, that is when it is greater than 0. When the number is greater than 0, we consider it as a positive number. Negative is the values which are less than 0 are negative. If it is not positive or negative, then in the last case it will be 0. So let us look at the algorithm for this. Step 1, it's start, read n. Here also we require only one input, that is n, that is the number which we want to check. Next, first we will check whether the number is positive. So in that case we have to test the condition if n is greater than 0. If the entered number is greater than 0, for example, if n is equal to 6, then in that case it has to print n is positive. So after printing n is positive, it will stop. If n is not positive, then what will happen? Then we are going to check whether it is negative. So to check whether the given number is negative, the condition we require is n less than 0. If n is less than 0, that means if value entered is -4, then in that case it has to print n is negative, and after printing n is negative, it will terminate. In the similar way, suppose the number is neither positive nor negative, then that means if this condition is false, if n is not greater than 0, it comes here, it will check whether n is less than 0. If it is not less than 0, then surely it will be 0. So it prints n is 0 and it terminates. This is how we check whether the number is positive, negative or 0.